Hello, I'm Walter Schwabe, and I'm a candidate for councillor in Ward 2, and I'm here at my home office, and I thought it would be great if a few folks who didn't make it out to the forum last night, and there was a lot of folks out last night, which was really great, but I thought if you didn't make it out to the forum last night and you're a resident of Ward 2, you might have wanted to hear my speech again. So in a lot more informal setting, I thought I would present that speech, again for you, and you can have a listen for yourself. Thankfully, though, I mean, even though the Chamber did an absolutely great job last night, once again, I think folks would like to see maybe some live streaming in future forums, and I know that with my history, I've been promoting, using live streaming for years. In fact, we started using it in 2009. So it's been a lot of years, and I hope that that's something that is brought in the future. Having said that, let's get right to it. I know that there's a whole lot of things that, busy schedules, and so I'm just taking this quick moment to say my speech, which is 6.5 minutes or so, and then after, I'll stick around just in case anybody happens to have any questions live. Happy to answer those as well. So here we go. I've just got my iPad set up here, so making work makeshift solution here as we go along. We had an opening of 90 seconds, and here's what I presented last night. Denzel Washington once said, "Don't aspire to make a living, aspire to make a difference." And that's why I'm running. I wanted to run a campaign based on positive action. And so some are actually saying that I'm already making a positive difference in the community. Hello, I'm Walter Schwabe. And when I decided to run for council, to become your councillor in Ward 2, I said rather than just talk about change, I wanted to leave the community better than when I started, regardless of the election outcome. Now, listening to you at the doors, I've already started to take action on such items as traffic calming, cyberbullying, and bringing community together in new and innovative ways. I've been leveraging my 40,000 hours of experience as a digital strategist, having consulted with Microsoft and all 3 levels of government, creating digital citizen engagement strategies. Now, I've reached audiences in 900 cities across 92 countries. I'm a regular panelist on Alberta Primetime and a media commentator across all 3 mainstream media. I was a radio show host on the Team 1260, with the only radio show in North America strictly focused on social media. And I've been published in mainstream media and had the good fortune to reach over 10 million people across North America. To vote Schwabe means to bring decisive, innovative, and thoughtful leadership to your council, as well as someone who will ask the tough questions. Vote Schwabe on October 16th. And I wanted to thank the Chamber and everyone watching this broadcast for watching and spending some time with me here and now. So that was my opening last night. And then we were also given a 2-part question, basically, by the Chamber. The question was, what are the top issues in your ward, and what are residents telling you that they'd like to see out of their councillor over the next 4 years? And so when it was my time to respond, here's how I responded. When I ask residents at the doors what sort of issues are going to influence their vote in this election, approximately 7 out of 10 times, residents come back to me with an answer related to traffic calming. And I'm sensing a lot of frustration. And so because I, evaluate and analyze behavioral patterns for a living, I've been looking for what the reasons are for this frustration. And so most residents are, I think, frustrated by the low level of direct consultation and communication around these important issues in the ward. So now I believe that the incumbent and county administration absolutely follow the public engagement framework that's well stated on the website. But you know, only 70 residents voted for the 2 roundabouts on Jim Common Drive in the survey. And so as your counselor, I'm going to work not only harder, but smarter to get in touch with you, inform you, and inspire you to participate in important decisions going forward. Now, a lot of residents have asked me, well, how would you handle the traffic and the speed issue in our neighborhood? What would you do differently? And so I've responded with a few different things that I've already published online. For example, I'm suggesting that we form a Made in Ward 2 Citizen Traffic Committee made up of Ward 2 residents who are passionate about traffic flow in our community, but also experts in enforcement and traffic as well. Now, that committee can work together to come up with the solutions to some of the issues that are coming up and then communicate those solutions more effectively to our ward. Now, I also believe that we need to have more driver feedback signs within the community that help us track the speed on our roads in real time. But here's the difference. I believe we need to display that data in real time on strathcona.ca so all residents can see the real actual data of the speed. Now, a lot of folks have been maybe judging who's speeding and who's not speeding on the roads in front of their neighborhoods or their houses based on anecdotal evidence. This will give us the hard evidence, the hard data in real time so everybody can see what's going on. But then we can deploy a resident volunteer speed watch team to those hot spots in Ward 2 and allow our enforcement teams then to very hyper-targetedly target those specific drivers who are speeding in places like our school zones and in places on various roads throughout our community. Now, I know that some of you are still wondering how we got here on the Bremner vote, and if you don't know why your counselor voted for Bremner in a 6-2 vote, I would encourage you to ask them. But you know what? As it moves forward in terms of a discussion, as your new counselor for Ward 2, I'll be in a position to ask, I'll have the credibility to ask, the very tough questions on the Bremner situation. And I want to tell you right now, clearly, number one, again, I would not have voted for Bremner if I was on council. And so I want to see if that proceeds forward, okay, on this new council, and I happen to be your counselor, then unless this pays for itself, unless I can put forth a vision of self-sustainability and it pays for itself in terms of taxes, it won't get my vote. And that's what I said live last night, okay? So to be very clear, there is no other option in terms of growing and going forward, and we must proceed with Bremner, then it must pay for itself, or it won't get my vote of support. One other thing that's come up absolutely at the doors is counselor expenses. And so residents have said that over the next 4 years, they want a more fiscally responsible counselor. Now, I've been very fortunate to travel North America, attending many conferences as a paid public speaker, and it's been fantastic to be able to do that. But what I want you to know here right now is that I'm not here to pad my resume. I'm here to serve you. And I think that I want to make sure that I'm very clear on that point. Conferences are important for county business. It helps us expand our horizons, but it should be about benefiting residents, not benefiting me. So that's how I generally ended my, my 3-minute answer to those questions. And then we got a 2-minute closing. So I was second to go. The incumbent went first, and then I went, and then my other opponent finished off. So when it was my turn, here's what I said. Now, I've listened to Ward 2 residents at the doors, and here's what they've said they would expect out of their counselor over the next 4 years. You've said we need more effective, decisive, and innovative leadership. You've said you want a trustworthy counselor that holds himself accountable. Well, I'm old school, which means that I believe my word is my bond. I stand for getting rid of counselor priority funds that some have been using for electioneering purposes. We need to find better ways to elevate our community organizations. I stand for economic innovation that includes creating industry clusters in health, technology, and agricultural sciences. I stand for empowering youth, as they're going to be the ones who fuel our community and our economy for the next 30 years. I stand for working on affordable housing for seniors and our residents and for protecting our mature neighborhoods. I stand for effective communication using live streaming video, just like this, to inform you about the issues and my progress on them. I stand for walking the ward for all of the 4 years rather than just election years. You're going to know who your counselor is, and ego won't have anything to do about it. I'm already taking action. I've begun to coordinate the next change camp on traffic issues. And if you've seen a 6-foot-tall turtle walking around named Slow Down Sammy, that's my campaign already beginning to work on speed in school zones. Sammy's our guy. Kids and parents love him. I've also increased awareness for the elimination of cyberbullying in our community by listening and communicating with school board trustees, the county, and parent council representatives. That's something that I want to proceed forward after the election and continue to work on as well. I've also been working on the launch of something called a mobile makerspace pilot project for kids in our community, giving families new creative learning and playing options on their block in Ward 2. To vote Schwabe is to bring thoughtful, decisive, and innovative leadership to your council and someone who will ask the tough questions. I want to thank every one of you watching here right now from Ward 2 for being change agents in Ward 2. I sure hope to inspire you to go tell 2 friends to vote for me, Walter Schwabe, on October 16th. And I would like to say a special thank you to my amazing wife, Erica, and our girls. They rock, and I love them very much. Thank you. So that, in general, ladies and gentlemen, was my speech last night, and I've added just a little bit more, so you got something special, extra special here today, because I didn't have to worry about the per second timing of this time around, and so I took the liberties of just adding just a couple of extra things that I would have liked to have said, or could have said last night, but I was very cognizant of time. So if anyone has some questions that they would like to ask of me right now that maybe they didn't get a chance to ask me last night, please feel free to add them here in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer them live. And if not, if you watch this later and you'd like to post questions here regarding this speech and my comments here, please feel free to do that, and I will definitely follow up. We're going to continue to be pushing hard the rest of this week. I sure hope that you've heard things here that inspire you to vote for me. But if you are wanting clarification, for example, last night, a young man named Cameron, young boy, had come up to the table, and he was taking the initiative to interview or talk to some of the candidates. And so he had a question for me, and the question was, well, what are you going to do if you're elected? What will you do for the youth in our community? Which I think is like a fantastic question. And so that's where I began to talk to him about the mobile makerspace, the idea that I have. And you know what? I just think it's going to be awesome. But more importantly, I wanted to know what Cameron thought. And so when I explained that the mobile makerspace would be this covered trailer filled to the rim with all sorts of cool learning toys and tools and supplies, things like Lego and erector sets and paint and Play-Doh and all sorts of things that can get kids thinking with using their critical thinking skills and socializing with their friends on their block, but building really cool things with their hands and with their minds. I thought, man, I think kids would love it. So I wanted to know what Cameron thought, and he said, he just lit up, and he just went, absolutely, I love that idea, he said. And that's the real proof in the pudding. I think parents would love this option of playing, having their kids play in and around and near their block, having this mobile makerspace be scheduled to go through Ward 2 and get near parks and stuff where kids are at, and then parents can send them there to create things and learn from, hopefully, like retired teachers or folks who are a part of an organization that would take ownership of this project. And so I've begun talking to folks within the community to see if we can find a home. Now, I believe that we can get enough private money to support this first pilot project and get it off the ground so we can prove it out and set up the systems around it so it's sustainable. But please let me know what you think of the mobile makerspace idea, where we can push it through Ward 2 and get the playing opportunities right into the hearts of the blocks where the kids are. Another idea that I wanted to put forth for the community, building community, has a lot to do with outdoor events. We held an outdoor movie this year with Lego Batman. The girls went around and they raised a bunch of money for the licensing for Lego Batman. So we really appreciate, you know, the good folks in Glen Allen of supporting the girls and the team there to raise money for the license and also for showing up to that movie. I know that the Gilmore Park Community League holds an outdoor movie. I think it's fantastic. I think we need to do, and there are others, IVC, obviously theirs was shut down this year because of the really wild wind that happened that night. But, you know, it's a fantastic idea, and we need to have more of those opportunities. So that's something that I would definitely work on going forward. So I want to thank you very much for tuning in. Again, if you do have questions on the specifics, you know, related to my economic policies and vision, related to how I intend to grow our community in terms of activities for families and seniors and kids and everybody that makes up our community, please feel free to ask. And I really do appreciate your time and attention here. Thank you again for sharing this message with your friends and community members. And I sure hope to earn your vote on October 16th. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Walter Schwabe.